So I thought I'd make a video. Um, you know, for those, I have no idea who gets to watch these videos and, who doesn't, and who, if the views I'm getting on videos or any credibility. It didn't look like anybody's even looking at them. A lot of them got zero views, one or two views. Um, but I try not to think about it because, you know, at this point, it doesn't feel like nobody's listening to what I have to say in any truth. They're just in teams, in SWAT teams, like soldiers, like Nazi soldiers, in this huge homosexual riot against me it's just unbelievable. To this very day, it doesn't. And when I say astonished, it's not astonishing of good. It's like an astonishing of horror that human beings behave this way in teams toward a very specific person, and for hatred, just bashing anything, the entire energy of every deliverance of every human being, nearly that's coming around me, or so it feels. The physical, the expressions is hatred against me, the enemy. And it's only coming from them. It's only coming from the transgenders. It's only coming from the homosexuals. And they work in teams. Like, I can't tell you how many times I walk into a grocery store, or dollar store, or gas station, and you'll see the homosexuals, like a pack of hyenas, like work together toward to going after a predator. And you know, nobody wants to listen or hear about what I have to say about how, before I ever knew I even had a sister that passed away, I was being attacked and taunted by it when I'm 25 years old, when I'm working at Advanced Graphics. When I see Mike Standish and some other people standing in a room like they're attending a funeral, and like they all know that this little girl was living next door to me, and was, nobody seems to care, because I understand that there's so many bad things that go on in the world, but this was really bad. Like, the abuse that I saw was that of just abusing. A lot of it was most of it was all abusing toward my mother and that little girl that was my sister. That to this day is being scavenged in horrors of just a joyride to use that directly as a weapon. And these are total strangers. They've gotten a group of psychologists, and they know everything about my life. They know down to the grimmest detail. And they get that information and they apply their dark psychology on me, using the dead little girl, using any details they can, and directing it directly at me, just for dark behavior. When I, like, for an examples, I go to CC's and eat with my mother after taking the GED test. And I walk in there, the register person up at the front desk looks absolutely like vengeful, like they got a knife behind their back, waiting for my mother. This is my mother's twin, not my mother. It's her triplet, which would be my aunt. And my mother doesn't say anything, and my mother's twin always has these glasses that tell her what to do. And they use, like, I don't know who purchased them, but they tell her exactly what to do, and she's been trained exactly how to respond, how to behave around me. There's nothing natural. So when she needs to act, when they tell her to be very disgusting toward me, she'll follow like orders. When they tell her to behave very nice and be very nice to him and just watch his behavior, but it's nothing's natural about it. But I try to make it as natural as I can, as I can in the environment that I'm in, because that's as close as I'm ever going to have gotten being able to get to my mother, so that I can talk to her, figure out, what had happened, who's, these predators that are going after her money and the experiences that went in our immediate family. You don't, no one seems to care and understand how, with the discussing brutality. I mean, you have deceased people, little girl that didn't get a proper burials. To this day, I'm not even confirmed. Her name is either Miranda or Marissa. And I think it's Miranda. But she didn't get a proper funeral, and this is my sister. I'm not kidding you. I mean, it's a very nightmarish to even think that how these homosexuals, everybody in this house and anywhere I go, just finds a joy right out of it. Like, it's crazy to watch people, like when you're on a bus or you're at a grocery store, and what they do and how they behave with that topic, like toward me, like as an enemy. Like, if you watch and just slightly pay attention, it's, as much as I try not to pay attention, when I don't, they'll get in front of me and cut in front of me, or to get my attention, to force me to watch them taunting this dead little girl, making sure that Kenneth Cooper and their gay leader is a hero, saved my sister, protected my father, and mostly protected my mother. It is horrific, like, just to watch. Like, you look into their eyes and you can see like a fucking devil or a demon, just like, I want her dead body, how we're gonna use this for the gays. Like they thrive on this like parasites. And I don't say anything. I say thank you, excuse me. I always get out of people's ways. I always not try to pay attention. Just go there for what I'm there for. Just skim through the aisles, always. And like every time I come into this house, and let me tell you, it's in every place. I'm telling you, every place is designated with these homosexuals and transgenders, and they repeat the same cycle over and over. Everything. And all they think about, what can I do to this person and use this dead little girl and scavenge her spirit and scavenge whatever good I can and make Kenneth and Sarah Cooper and Ken Cooper world-renowned heroes and angels. Now, it is like the words, the actions, it's always like that. Because, all my brothers are gay, all of them. And they're sets of twins. And they know whether my mother's sisters are lesbians. But like when I come into this place, I open the door, this guy from India, he's like cooking like meals, and in the kitchen it looks like a slab, like where you would put a dead body, or like some turntables, right? There's a big open space, looks like a booth, like a DJ booth. But as I walk in, this guy behaves like Frankie, like my brother Frankie, who got raped by 10 homosexual men and all the horrors that happened. So what he does is he uses this information, that how he characterizes, like my brother sort of gives a certain looks, right? Or behavior, how he acts, his personality. Well, they figured out certain things that he does and he behaves. And when I walk into the door, and he'll look at me like, and he does this look, like sort of what maybe my brother would do, because I knew how he behaves. So he directs it at me as to use that as I scavenge off this dead little girl, and I can imprint the identity of how you identify these impressions that are in front of you, that Frankie's the one scavenging off the dead little corpse. No, it's for the DJ. No, it's for the dead little girl. And they do this repeatedly, nonstop. Like, as soon as I started talking about this Indian guy, I just heard him go into the bathroom and flush the toilet. So they do all these very sick mentality methods 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It never stops. Another instance was today. I walk over, and you don't understand, I walk down the street every day and it's something else. This is just, every action I take, there's just so many people against me and vile toward me. They're constantly, when they see me, they'll want to take a shot, because they know that they may not get a shot at me again. To say something or act some way. I walk into a gas station, I hear some lady start laughing, which happened earlier, and she's looking at me like, haha, we're in control, we can abuse you, rape you, do whatever we want, we're going to glorify whoever we want. And I walk over to my mother's, and I, I feel so saddened by this as well because I know my mother, her twins, well enough, but my mother's character my whole life. And there's a black woman with like some little, like, they look like from Saudi Arabia or something, from, you know, um, and some Saudi Arabian, not Saudi Arabian, but like Sudan people, you know, those people that, you know, experience a lot of war and torn in their countries. And I'm walking, and they intentionally wait. They know exactly when I show up. Hector's here. Okay, stand in front of the door. And they all prepare this acting, staging role when I get to my mother's. And every day it's something else. And when I go over there, she's walking up the stairs, and my mother just quickly goes over to her. Right, my aunt, my mother's sister. Look, who's her triplet. And I don't say anything. I'm very scared, so like I just stay away, stay near the rail, and I just kind of look. Oh, hi, my name is Hector. And I don't say anything because it's enemies. And these is a transgender. She's walking with this little kid, and he looks normal. I mean, he looks normal to me. I didn't see anything wrong with him, and he just kind of quiet, not really looking at me. And my mother goes toward the kid and him as they were standing at the foot of the stairs. I have some potatoes, and my mother was giving this guy potatoes for some reason, or this transgender and this kid. And I don't say anything. I'm just polite and just kind of look away and just let them have their moment or whatever. And the lady, and I can tell how my mother's behaving. My mother looks like a slave when she's behaving with other people. Like it's almost like a cardinal dog whistle that they have her like do what I tell you to do, like they have me. And she goes, gives him these potatoes. I'm like, why is she giving these people potatoes? And I don't say anything. I'm like, you know, this lady looks, oh, okay, and she's kind of behaving like, you're stupid, lady. Like, you're stupid. We know you're stupid. Like, you could tell by looking at her, at that lady, how she's behaving. And I know my mother's vibe. And she looks over at me and she goes, oh yeah. And she looks at me with this grin look at the corner, like, oh, you think, oh yeah, I like that, huh? And like gives me like a grin look. And I don't say anything, and I walk in, right? And I just continue walking, and my mother looks at this lady as she gives me this look, like she has this little kid, like, he goes, oh yeah, and gives like this grinning look. And my mother just freezes and likes looking at this person. And I'm looking at this person, and I look at my mother like, do you see how crazy that fucking shit is? And she goes, looks at my mother. She's kind of taking a few more steps up the stairs. He goes, yeah, he looks just like you. He goes, yeah, he looks just like you. Like pointing at my mother. Like, I'm going to tell you what the fuck to do. You need to scum him because that's what Hector did to you. Because my name's Hector, and I look exactly like my biological father. And I don't say anything. I don't give dirty looks. I just observing, and look away when I can. And when I'm continuing to walk in, my mother is particularly acting very, I don't know, it feels like my arm right now is pulsating. They're shooting some electronic device at my arm, and it feels like something's pulsating, and it's an electronic device. They're shooting some sort of nervous system in my arm right now. But I walk in there, seeing it's feeling numb. Look, I just had my arm like this right now, and it feels like it's numbing, like it's tingling and it's numb. And I can feel it. It's throbbing like it's numb. And anyway, and I walk in, and my mother's never happy like this. But I can tell it's all acting. And she's just like, sort of just running all throughout the apartment, watering her plants, doing exactly what they tell her to do. And I can't think anything other than, dear God, do they have a God? I hope he's watching. And if there is a God, how mutilating what they're doing to my own mother, and I can't do anything about it. And they're ruining her identity. That's all they're doing. And as I'm sitting there eating my meal, about 15 minutes, I was there for about an hour. I always do the same thing, sit at the table, get something to eat, whatever my mother's able to give me. And she gives me like a small chicken. It's all been chewed up and eaten already. Like she already had something. And she gives it to me with some tortillas. But they use these sort of symbols like a dead corpse, right? Like you're picking at your dead sister, you're picking up Patricia's dead body, what you're going to get. It's just a chicken. But they reference it like I'm giving you a chicken because all my mother's doing, her twin, is cleaning up. What can I do to make sure Kenneth and everyone else that's harming me and continuing to harm me, can I help them and go against Hector? Like, that's from top to bottom. But she doesn't understand mentally and know the history of any of the circumstances, so it's not going to bother her. She's just doing what she's being told to do. That's it. And it's completely crazy, jacked up, like that. Anything like this, that, you know, it's like Auschwitz. Like they completely make up and wipe away any story and anything I'd ever did in my life. Anything. Like I never existed. I never did anything with Frankie. It was just this little bit. I mean, let me tell you, when this guy is standing in front of that what looks like to be a body of a dead little girl, because he has all this food and he lines it up like a dead little girl, he looks at me and he tries to characterize himself as Frankie. What does Frankie do? Does he, when he gets angry, when he's happy, when he smiles, when you ask him a question? I know all these things. So he's trying to impregnate that character and identity to rewire it to his adjustments for his faggots, his gays, his transgender. That's all it is. Now, this is something that I don't like doing. I don't like talking about. I don't like being taunted about a dead little girl that I was watching throw up all over the ground, being abused, and this is my sister. I don't like the fact that this is all about saving Kenneth and his transgender motherfucker, this piece of shit that was, no one cares. And it's just all these gays. All their mindset is, how can I go after you and get underneath your skin? How can I get it underneath? That's every action, body language, words. When someone doesn't like you at this levels, every action they're going to do is not going to be to help you. It's going to be to put you where they want to put you, mentally and physically and emotionally. And it wears and tears. You know, I don't like doing the topic of, you know, this whole dancing parade. And they're all like dancing in front of this corpse. That's what they're doing. Like it looks like a big table where you put some, like a DJ booth, but it looks like you put a dead body. And this is what they do. So it's very simple. Yeah, he's making dinner, but what are your intentions? That's what matters. The intentions is, it's covered up with, making something to eat, but that's not what they're doing. That's not what he's doing. And the same way, like this guy across the hall from me, Mexican guy. Yesterday, look, this is how they work in teams. A couple days ago, I'm walking into the house, and he's standing over where you put a dead body, right? You're like a dead individual, human being. And they put like a bunch of shit there, like a pineapple and a couple donuts or whatever it was. And he waits to see my environment, and he looks at me, and he says something to me, and he goes, "Hey, is this yours?" And I don't say anything. I thought maybe he was talking to someone else. I kind of just try to look away, and he goes, "Hey," and he goes, "This is yours?" And he's pointing like at the dead corpse, like at a dead table. And I go, "No, it's Jerry's." But the reason he does that is to make me think, "Oh, is that, you think that's your dead sister? Oh, we're the saviors of saving her, the little dead body." And that's why they're doing it. That they're not doing it for anything else. And once again, I don't say anything. "Oh, that's just Jerry's," or the other guy who lives over there. The guy who thinks he's Ken Cooper and tries to portray Ken Cooper. You know, all the different circumstances. So they have everybody in the house try to play a certain character. Right? This guy over here across the hall starts trying to make faces like my sister would have and trying to take that I identify this person as Miranda. This guy over here tries to identify as Ken Cooper. The guy down the hall behaves like Frankie. This guy right over here, this black guy that spit at me, from top to bottom, he's identified every impression, body language, and actions as Kenneth Cooper, the one that works at 97.9 The Beat, or used to, who got his record deal, was on a TV show, who is Sarah Cooper's kid, who's a transgender. He's all about the gay shit and his gay people. And I don't say anything. They got another guy over here that behaves like Nick Carrera, which I thought was very weird because I don't even really know. I haven't talked to Nick Carrera in a long time. But I really don't ever see that guy. But no one really gives any kindness. It's just kind of going about your business and then scum and then leave, scum something else and go about your business, scum something very quickly, and it's just constantly like that. And like the guy over here that starts playing his character role like Ken Cooper, when he does this, and I finally engaged maybe like a 1 minute conversation with him since I've been here, he starts working his prison talk. You know, people in penitentiaries, they know how to talk pure devil. I mean, dead body, you're fucking worthless to me. I don't give a fuck. It don't matter to me. I'm here to scavenge for your dead organs. I mean, it's nothing good. It's say how well can you smile and behave that way. It's nothing good. But keep it positive, right? As I'm talking, and he starts referencing things immediately about my father, Hector, who's dead. My Raymond Palomo. He starts portraying it, and it's just spewing dark energy, like dark, very dark, cynical, sick behavior. I don't say anything. I try to, keep it to, just speaking my GED or whatever it is. And so it's constantly like that. I don't like to be talking about this to total strangers, and I don't like total strangers taunting me about a sister that didn't get a proper burial and how they want to glorize Kenneth Cooper because he's one of his faggots. And now let's figure out who else has problems. We can scum this little girl at Hector. Because remember, that little girl who's wherever she's buried, if she even has, I'm sure she has a marked tombstone somewhere, who is deceased. And you're using this, people are coming at me, and I don't want to, I do not want to deal with this. I do not want people projecting, scumming that dead little girl at me as a joyride, and that is all they're doing. All they're doing. And what makes it even more darker is what they'll do is they'll get their kids to participate in it. Sometimes when I go to a grocery store, like they'll get this little girl that has midnight black hair like my sister and dark eyes like the ethnicity features, and they'll get her to wear like the same shoes that my sister used to wear, and like a diamond wedding rings on her shoes. And his little kid, and they'll stand right by the door, and they'll train. I mean, these are like 5-6-year-old, like a little girl, and like some 10-year-old kid, and like maybe another 7-year-old little sister, and they stand at the front door as I'm leaving to make sure I get the intention, and they tell them, "It's okay, just go stand over there, pretend you're grabbing something, and you little girl, just go hit him and go say no, and just do that to him." So they use these pigmented, try to premeditation behavior, impressions to contaminate me so that they can force me to take in that this is what my sister is saying. This is what Miranda is saying to me. And this is a total stranger, but it's the dark intentions is what they're doing. That's what's so bad about it. I don't like it. I really get bothered by it a lot. I can't tell you how many times people were coming at me in my job. My mother was just a scum bitch who just threw the little girl over there, and that's why we had to come and save her. How they start portraying, in some cases, Christianity beliefs, which I believe in Jesus and God, but they use it as such a dark performance that they're like standing over, like they're giving their heartfelt of Miranda who died and nobody really cared, and I had to help Susana, and they'll do this shit like at my job sites, and like, and I don't like it at all. I get really bothered by it because I believe she's with Jesus. I believe she's with Jesus, with God, with the Lord. I don't believe that anything else other than that she is with God now. If there is a God, if there is a spiritual, whatever her soul was and purpose, whatever it was, she's with God now. She's no longer here anymore. But when people antagonize that, it doesn't make it feel any better, because they're just they're picking at a dead corpse and just like eating it in front of me, and they enjoy it. You can see the smirks on their face sometimes, like they're trying to get underneath my skin. And I always ignore it. Nobody knows about this. It's a very disturbing type of behavior that they're doing, because the deep psychology of it is to have my brothers turn all against me, my mother, and everything that had ever happened, and completely wipe away any identity of the right doing that I ever did in my life, and shift the credits and emotions to whatever department they want to send it to. So if that's claiming, no, Frankie's the hero for the gays and he gave it to his kid, like whatever it is, no, Julian, it was the one, and it just goes on and on. And so when they see any indication, either in this place that I'm in or any other place that is not in their favor, they'll send somebody to come act very aggressive and threatening, either at a mall, grocery store, because I really don't go to too many places, to then install the fear because it's not going the way that they want it. So that, and it's messed up. Like, I'm telling you, like, I'm eating at Cece's, right, just yesterday, and they bring this little black kid and like two girls that look like, two transgenders, bring this little baby, like 8 months old. I don't know, look like 8 months old or something. And I don't think anything, but they come in Cece's while I'm eating with my mother, all the way to the very back, to make sure that they just target the situation. And I'm there with my mother's twin, and my mother starts to sort of choke up some tears. And she goes like, and you could just tell she's in full-blown control, like wearing these, whatever they telling her to do, the psychologist or whatever. We got money, we're gonna give you everything, we got God under control, where everything's like, when you're asking for help and you have no education, what else do you think you're gonna do? It's like, if they're gonna throw you into the gas chambers, a lot of women, many of them would have just thrown their kids away, not having a choice, or maybe I wouldn't say their kids, but like strangers. But it's a very nasty, disgusting thing they're doing, and it's just a joyride because they want to glorify their homosexuality and transgender community and exchange it for something else. It's very painful because they're erasing my mother, they're erasing what had happened, what I had done. Is unbelievable, the things that I had went through my life of pain. I mean, my brother got raped by 10 homosexual men. I saved him from 9 of these motherfuckers, literally protecting him, and they just play these games like this. Patricia's the hero. She was just being herself. Like, and what makes it even more worse at times is that they'll start taunting the situation about Patricia. Like, yeah, you're one of us. You're infected one of us. Like, you're one of our gays. Yeah, you too. You're one of us, like gays. You're one of us, the transgenders who are all fucked up sexually. And it's fucking nasty. And it's fucking very frightening. I can't even begin to tell you how many electronic devices they're using at me and the abilities that they have to do that they can do to me. They can cause nightmares. They have all these sort of machines shooting different parts of the brain. I know it sounds really crazy, but this is exactly what they're fucking doing. They'll shoot different parts of my body. Like, I've been laying in here and they just started doing this today. They're shooting something into my hand that's making my left pinky continually tremble and twitch. And so while I'm watching an Auschwitz, narrated by Nicole Kidman, and, people in the Holocaust being gassed and raped and tortured and all kinds of things in mass numbers, and the laughter these Nazi soldiers did, they're shooting me with this electronic device, and I'm fully aware that they're shooting me with it. Like, someone is in here with a fucking weapon and that can see me with a camera, whether it's infrared or just solid camera, and then shooting the weapon at me, just toying with me while I'm doing nothing but watching a documentary. And just to know that somebody's doing that, and they're like, for the past like probably 3 weeks now, they're continuing to shoot my toenails, so my toenails are really getting deformed, and they're shooting underneath the tissue so that it has a lot of ripples. And I take care of my feet really well and my nails because I'm always traveling, always moving, and it's nasty to have. Some people can't help it because of their lifestyle, but try to take care of yourself. And it's a disfigurement that they do to me with these weapons. It is a fucking disfigurement that they're doing with a weapon that has no other purpose other than to disfigure me and train me in a psychological mental, to keep me under their mental control. That if you do not believe and do as I tell you to do, then I'm going to just force myself to shoot you wherever I want on your body, and mentally put you wherever I want. Shoot you in your rectum, penis, toenails, your face, all kinds of fucking disgusting things. And nobody knows, nobody cares. And it's just like I'm living normal. Like, it's so normal to me. They forced me to get up in the morning, run to the restroom, take a shit when they tell me to do. They kept on pressing these electronic devices, making me push out intestines. Like, I can feel them just processing the shit out of my fucking body with an electronic device. I do not have bowel movement problems. I've gotten intestines, parasites tested, nothing. It's someone that's doing this on purpose. And I'm terrorized to even go to the police, because the police will encourage these people to continue doing this, knowing they don't know all the details. Because police officers they don't have to do anything if they don't want to. They know how to get around every system you can imagine to allow someone else to kill you or get rid of your life. Because they're only good for putting people in a cage, specifically people like me. They only want to target people like me. That becomes personal, because they're all homosexuals and transgenders, to go in a cage. They don't care about your life. They don't care if you take your last breath. Now, they may act police officers to their homosexuals and transgenders, but they're not going to be like that with me. Remember, the gay leaders and the gay community, and they act in riots. Doesn't matter how polite I am. Thank you, excuse me. Can I, get out of people, let people cut in front of me. It doesn't matter. Like, even as when it's a fueled snowball that has just snowballed continuously going down the hill, just horrifically, of just hatred among a huge population of people. And there's a lot of suffering in the world that goes on, a lot of suffering beyond anything. It is a shame, and I'm lost with words to be able to describe the idea that these people don't believe in a God. They go through their life never fearing God. That you put this much amount of pain onto someone and you enjoyed it, and there's no repercussion in an afterlife at all. Like, nothing. They have made up in their mind that when you get to the end of your life, that if there's nothing, well, then you won everything, right? Because it didn't matter. But if there is, it doesn't even matter. they're still going to a good place, and they'll just compare themselves to someone else that has really has killed and genocided a lot of people. You know, they don't care. How much better am I that person? You know, like, but it's jacked up. It's messed up. I mean, it's a very dark psychology. Like, they'll flip up. Like when I talked about my compression pants being switched out, they started switching out. I mean, they started turning the rugs underneath in the bathroom upside down, and yeah, I just feel my leg just twitched, like they just shot something like that. I feel just a little pinpoint, and it just starts twitching. But you know, my back still hurts, my lower back from them shooting it. You know, I'm supposed to be taking care of myself. I'm supposed to be eating healthy. I'm supposed to be exercising, and I can't because of what these people are doing to me. I just feel them now shoot me in my right butt cheek, making the muscle tissue twitch. Yeah, like it's just biting you in the ass. Look what you did to yourself. And it's the person that just shot me with an electronic device that's doing this. Everything that I'm making on this video right now, they're watching me. They're listening to me live as I talk and say it, because they're listening and they wait for me to say something for them to give them a reason to shoot my different part of the body or whatever it is, or even shoot an electronic device that the frequency that shoots into the environment where I end up stuttering or I can't think or I lose my train of thought, and I'm very clear-headed. I just completed a math GED test, for those who know how difficult that really is. And but it's just terrifying, you know. Like, they don't believe in anything, and after they want to treasure someone who is so beyond guilty in the group of people that they're going to make sure that they get away with what they did, you know, scot-free. You know, they're going to make these people get away, just whatever you want to get. We're just for the gays in our secret movement. It's you know, it's terrifying. It is terrifying to know that at 42 years old, how long I've been going through this, and I live my life every day knowing that they're shooting at me, and I'm not doing anything to go to the police, and I'm not doing much to, you know, my mother's twin doesn't, they tell her to go along with it. And, you know, like I'm just a slave. I'm a full-blown slave to whatever it is, at the mercy of whatever they want to do to me. And the reality of it, and so much, is that no one's stopping it. And as much as I tried to get everyone's attention, or I tried going to the police like 30 or 40 times over the last 14 years, 13 years, or I'd say 12 years, doesn't matter. Like, I had a murder attempt that was placed on me. I'm being kicked in my throat, being kicked in my face. I'm being punched in the back of the head, which is very dangerous, at a cemetery where Julian's brother, who got killed in a car wreck many years ago, is buried there. Like, I'm homeless, I don't have anything, and they beat the living fuck out of me. You know, this is, and for the first, I'm going to say for the first 10 years, now maybe not 10, about 8 years, I would say, they brought that up and taunted me about that and used it. These were civilians using it as a personal law enforcement that they had for themselves. Like, if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'll send some more of them. So, you know, people don't even realize this crazy psychology they did, you know. Like, perfect related example, like, they bring this little black baby, and, you know, these two transgender that looks exactly like Barack Obama's transgender daughters. Or one of them's a transgender, but there's two of them that are transgenders that look like one of his transgender daughters. And they bring this little kid. I'm not saying anything, and I'm talking to my mother, and you could tell everybody in that place is focused on nowhere else but us. the entire restaurant. Like, it's all about control. It's all about poisoning. Your mother's too stupid to understand we're the saviors here. We're going to rewire the story. We're going to make up whoever this is. We're going to get away with what we did. And it's not even when you're not even seeking justice. They want to say what happened, and that's what you believe in. Oh, yeah, I was a NASCAR driver my whole life, and I know nothing about that. And that's just what I believe. I mean, it doesn't even matter. I mean, it's that fucking crazy. Like, whenever they brought that little kid, they get the little kid to sort of yell, and I feel somebody shooting an electronic device. And I talk about this electronic device like when somebody makes a noise or it shoots like frequency waves into like somebody's like spreading out the sound waves, and it shoots into your entire body, and you can feel the rattle in your fucking body. As somebody was like, if somebody said and yelled out, it's like, that's what you're gonna get. Like, the minute that you say that, you feel that word, not the word that they're saying, but like, I know it sounds weird, but like the physical output, and it's some electronic device. It shoots a wave. I don't know how it works, but it collects the sound of what somebody's saying or noise, whatever it is, because they can do it with any noise. Like, they can drop a book, they can hit a wall, and you feel the electrical shock. And it's not just electrical shock, but they can spread out the sonic waves, frequencies, so that they can turn it up so it hurts a whole bunch or just a little. But they turn it up a little bit, and I can feel like somebody like shooting me. And there, these two black girls that look like transgender, Barack Obama's transgender daughter, are like leaning toward the little kid. But you got to realize that one of these kids, one of these individuals that was at the cemetery that this murder attempt on me, he was really young. I'm pretty sure he was at least 18 years old, but he looked very young. And they put a knife up to my throat and held me hostage. Like, I'm having my head stomped on the ground, and I can't run. Like, I've lost the ability to run. I was 24 years old. Stomping my head out, trying to pull my pants down and rape me. I mean, you'll spend 20 years, 10, 15 years in penitentiary for doing something like that. And I was covered in blood. And I'm a cancer patient, homeless. What they took out of my wallet was like it wasn't even $100. It was like $70. I don't even know if I had it. I think it was like $35 I had in my pocket. I had like nothing. I had like $35. Yeah, I want to say it was because I didn't have anything. I had no job, no disability, nothing. It was like $35. And my mother's twin told me when I got this, you should call the police. And I said, no, I don't want to call the police because they'll come after me. They'll get their people and they'll round off and they'll overthrow the power of the police department. They will. And it's a very frightening thing that somebody's doing that. But I thought I would say something about this and have a discussion that it's just unbelievable. I don't know how they could feel comfortable that you're homosexual and your transgender environment gets so violated from you knowing who I am, that you want to target a dead little girl that died many years ago who was abused. Didn't even get a proper burial to say that you own her spirit for Sarah Cooper and Kenneth, and that they were just doing angel work. Like, it's so fucked up because they do this in actions and shit. Like, and they're so stubborn. Like, they don't give a fuck about human life. Like, nothing. Like, you watch these blacks come in and they're like working in fucking riots when you walk in, like Black Panthers and shit. Just like the white Ku Klux Klan and shit. Like, if you watch a lot of the behavior, like, you can tell you can feel the vibe of how they interact. Like, they all group up against me. Like, like it's very weird. Not just weird. It's very dark. Like you can predatorial. Like, oh yeah, one of our gays. Like it's Klansman. Like prejudice. Like racist. Like for real racist. Like you know, you walk into a room and a real life Ku Klux Klan member sitting at a fucking grocery store, all Klan, but the same. It's what they do. All the transgenders and gays like that. But I thought I'd make a video on this. It's I can't tell you how many celebrity interviews I'm watching right now. It's terrifying how many people know and how crazy hacking shit that they're doing. They're just toying with everything that's going on. But God, my mother does not have it. My biological mother has no idea what these fucking slimy motherfuckers are doing and what they're responsible for. And they want to treasure them as heroes. And it's like to antagonize the situation. I don't want to antagonize that. I do not. She's with God now. She's with God now. She's with Jesus. She's in the hands and responsibility of God and Jesus, not mine, and definitely not yours. And it's definitely not resting in peace. Antagonizing that, because if this ever unravels, if I live long enough, if this ever unravels to the point where there is a proper burial of my own sister, where I attend some sort of ceremony, they're doing all this shit so that then you can put all your emotion, I can put all my emotions and intentions and mental thoughts to how they want to place it. So they're doing it now, and it's just used as a trash can. Like, it's very terrifying. I watched this little girl being hit in front of my mother. My mother was clinching, and these people that are telling my mother's sisters and twins, you got to understand, my mother's sisters and twins, or triplets, my two aunts, they were never a part of this little girl's life, and they never lived in that house ever with me, Frankie, and Julian. It was just me, Celestina Melendez, me, Julian, and Frankie, and my father. My father moved out, living in a nursing home when I was 12. And they weren't a part of it. And they get someone who looks exactly like my mother's, a triplet, to then get them to scum the little girl. And I know that that's not what they want to do. I know they're just, whatever they have told them, said, we're going to take care of everything. We got all the money. No, this is what psychology is. This is what really happened. Sarah Cooper's going to get her spirit, and then she gets to chisel away. So when Hector buries her, she stays her heart with Kenneth, and then she gets to. So it's all dividing this scumming me shit and whatever glories they want to make it as. And it's not me that's taunting the situation as much as I've had said things that I wouldn't have naturally ever said out of the abuse that I was getting from these people about this deceased little girl. Like, if you don't say what they want you to say, they'll beat your fucking ass and they'll threaten you. You got to understand that the police department isn't going to do anything other than harm me. The police department is not there to do it to help me or protect me. They're there for their gaze. This is very intentional. Oh, you want to mess with us? Okay, well, we'll just kick you out to the streets. Otherwise, the police just walks away. You just go right. I mean, it doesn't matter. But I always try to stay positive. I always try to be kind as much as I can. Get out of people's ways. Maybe not preach the word of Jesus so much, but let people have their own space of religion. But try to be kind and nice, and you don't understand. Nobody listens about really what's happening. I never thought in my life, that I had a sister that could have died and it just be used as an abusive tool for years after she's been dead, after she has passed away. you know, and my mother went to the hospital. My mother went to the hospital to watch this girl, and I don't know if she was there to watch this little girl's last breaths of life. To my understanding, she just left after visiting the hospital and said her farewell goodbyes, and that was it. And here they are taunting it. You know, this guy's playing himself as Frankie, you know, because he's rearranging the emotional attachment of the dead little girl and what this whole situation is. If you want to go and find out the dirty, nasty details, you should have corrected this slimy motherfucker, Kenneth Cooper, and Ken Cooper and Sarah, what they did. That is a very dark, cynical, besides my work, because I was associated with these people, and you don't understand how kind I was to these people and how forgiving I was. And then there's people that walk into stores, think they're Sarah Cooper, and then they start taunting me by, and it's just like, I just try to avoid it, try to be nice, try to be, just stay, keep it as positive as I can, just, it's constant, but still doesn't feel good. I could never do that. I could not just be like, oh my God, you offended me so much that you said something about Mexican people, you said something about straight people, that I'm just, gonna make fun of your dead sister and drag her dead body around in a sort of nasty spiritual stew just to rot your fucking emotions about your dead little sister. Yeah, because you're just a piece of shit. You were just, you didn't know what the special little girl was. You're just a piece of shit. No, we were angel over here. Like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do this to a total stranger who I don't know. Like, why do you enjoy this? Why do you enjoy doing that? You really love doing that? You know what your intentions are. Like, when I speak to Lindsay Wessinger and she's taunting me, and I know what she's talking about, my dead sister, and talking about my dead dad, milking the situation to whatever the fuck the way that she wants it to go, because all this shit's going down because she's twins and she wants to dip into any control over my mother. It's just, I pray to God that there's someone superior in a psychological education that's going to have to be Mexican, a Mexican girl, a group of authentic Mexican women, a group of them, natural born females, no transgenders or gays, that is watching my mother and helping her and her sister's triplets, because it's brutal and nasty. It's like, I don't get it. I don't like it at all when, I don't like taunting situations. I just don't, It's like a tug of war. People don't believe really in, God. It's more like, oh, we listen to mediums and we know everything what mediums do, and we'll just believe in that, or whatever, but I always try to stay positive and kind in it. I'm telling you, like, God, do I hope there was some heterosexual female really listening and watching and listening to, but nobody has the time. There's so much suffering in the world. So much suffering in the world. In everyone's life. They don't get, like no one cares. No one cares. Like, the people that are all homosexuals and transgenders that don't have their family, most of them being gay guys, they have nothing more to do in their time in life than to antagonize and pick at that situation. Just for pain and suffering. Just for pain and suffering. We're going to fix things like, nobody's buying me a house, nobody's going to buy me a car, nobody's going to give me a free college education fully paid for. Nobody's going to do that. I have to work for it or earn it if I'm ever going to have anything nice. Nobody's going to buy me a bunch of nice clothes. I'm not going to have a credit card to go buy a bunch of nice clothes. Like, I'm lucky to eat at a restaurant if somebody doesn't spit in it or do something to the food that is disgusting. I'm lucky. if I get to have a comfort, a sit down meal like that, when I should walk in like anyone else and be treated like anyone else. I shouldn't have to be like this is 35, like when my dad was, and you're looking out the window. I mean, you're looking out before you walk into the restaurant. Does it say straight, stay away, gays only? Does it say transgenders only? Otherwise, we'll spit in your food. Like, am I welcomed here? Is this all human beings can walk into this restaurant? All human beings can walk into the grocery store. Is this allowed? But I hope that just pray things get better, and pray that God is watching. Um, and they have no fear in these. I can hear these people, and sometimes they're talking. Even with Lindsay Wessinger, who first tells me she's a Christian, and I mean this lunatic. I mean, very detailed in all the personal information. My mother doesn't know, and it's just because my mother isn't intelligent. They know that I know my mother's twin sisters like it's my mother. It's weird because they're triplets. But when I'm there, it looks so unsafe, and I can see how vulnerable my mother is with these people. These blacks and these, motherfuckers' rights, or these white supremacists show up, or the faggots or the gays, Mexican, full control. Like, separation between me and my mother, my immediate family, and let's see who's gonna get a DJ contract. Nobody's gonna give me a DJ. What are you talking about? I'm not a DJ. Nobody's gonna give you. I have 10 other friends. I don't know if some of them are alive or in nursing homes. When one of them, to my understanding, is in a nursing home, and had a brain hemorrhage or a stroke. Many of them have done drugs and are very old now. I'm 42 years old. I was the younger one out of all of them, but most of them are 45, 44 years old. I did only hard drugs, the majority, all of it, under the age of 18 years old. There was skimmering through very seldom, up until I was 20 years old. A couple times I dabbled in it. That was it. My early 20s, that was it. And they want to go through all these details. I have no idea how many other people were doing drugs with some of these people. They don't care. They want to find somebody to blame and get away with. And I hope to God they're all healthy and fine and getting better, but nobody's going to give anything free like that. I keep praying, believing in God. Jesus is a blessing.